Very warm welcome. We are here to do the eclipse in Cancer. Now, I had to do this video in a two-part series because I had a few phone calls, so apologies for that. We're going to be connecting in with the water signs and the air signs. Now, it is going to be by zodiac. So, although I'm mentioning air and water, it is due to the fact for the length of the video description. But overall, it's going to be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. Now, the other zodiac signs I have done in the previous video, so if you haven't looked at it, do go have a look. And that's for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, fire signs, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. Now, at the end of this video, I will do my very best to actually answer any of your questions. Didn't get to in the previous one, so apologies for that. And we'll get tucked into the energy. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, this can be deeply emotional driven. It is very feminine energy. With the eclipse having the sun and the moon energy, it's going to be masculine and feminine energy. Hi, Bella. Now, with that, it can be really what's happening on the external of us and what's happening on the internal. And it's almost like this push-pull energy. Because we've had the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn for about 2 years, many of us will have, as I mentioned in the previous video, a common theme that we've been working through. Now, yes, in your own astrology chart, you will know exactly where that Cancer placement is, and it will be important to look at that, and it will be a theme coming up around that area. And you do tend to find with solar eclipses, it can be a very, very heavy energy. At 0 degrees, it is the critical degree. So it can be happening a week in, a week out, but it will be kind of like ending one chapter and beginning a new. And with any ending, it can come about quite surprisingly. So it can be something very internal and emotional, and also something that you're trying to work towards to kind of cycle out and move forward. Now, it is very important where some of you may feel very lethargic. Some of you may feel very tired and exhausted, especially since in June, we do have about 7 planets retrograde. So we're going to have Mercury in Cancer, which is the planet of movement. Hi, yeah, I'm back again. I'm just, it's one of those days. We're also going to be having the eclipse in Cancer. Now, we do have Neptune going retrograde. This is more linking with Pisces theme. So depending on where Pisces lands for you guys, it's really important for you guys to look at that energy. And usually you find when we have retrogrades, it's, especially with eclipses, it's very hard to launch things. So it's not the best time to launch things, especially since we are coming out of shadow of Venus retrograde and it is in the house of Mercury. So it's almost like we've got two conversational pieces coming up. That of the movement and overload of information, especially relating to families, connections, romantic contracts, because it's marriages, contracts, partnerships. Venus is going direct. It's also the nodes in Gemini. It's the communication. It's the movement, overload of information. Too many things going on, so to speak. So it can feel very, very busy. Mercury retrograde in general, it's usually an overload of information. So you actually during that time do tend to find that there's information that's hidden. It comes to the surface. You're trying to deal with that. And then we're also moving to the eclipse in Cancer as well. So it can be a very heavy month. Now, most of you that do follow me, as well as I try to give you guys the updates, we did have the Schumann resonance spike. Now, if you're an empath, and the moon in Cancer is very empath orientated, it's very intuitive. You may find that psychically speaking, you guys are picking up on things more so. You can be picking up on high vibration and low vibration. And sometimes it's very hard to decipher between what is your energy and what is another's. Now, a lot of base chakra has been coming up. Again, it kind of does make sense because it does really link into fair base frequency, our direct foundation. We also have Saturn retrograde. So with those themes coming up, if you're getting hunches as to what you need to change in your home-related dynamic, in your movement forward, because even at a collective level, we're really looking at the Cancer placement as the 4th house. So it is very family-orientated. And individually, it's also the direct placement in your own astrology chart or directly connected to the zodiac that I'm mentioning, that will help guide you through this process. So, clearing your home, doing like meditation videos for the home environment, cleaning it out and getting rid of old things that you don't need to really create that new chi energy coming through to move forward would be really beneficial. Also, if you're feeling very tired, it's really important with our psyche and our psychology to really nurture yourself and to not overload yourself and overwhelm yourself. Now, energetically, even on the 15th, as I mentioned, and I'm at the 15th already and it's already occurring, there can be degrees of manipulation. And it's not so much as a perspective of a person intends to do that. It can be a demeanor in which, their needs are coming, their needs want to be met. And it's old cycles that we're really kind of moving away from and transforming and changing. And it may be that both individuals are right or all individuals are right, but it's spreading yourself like butter. So it's really having to look at that and do that inner nurturing and creating space. And sometimes it can be very abrupt because we do have moving towards the next 2 days, because I'm recording this on the 15th, which, usually I'm more organized, but this year's really been this way. 15th and the 16th, we've got the moon in Aries, and it is very Mars energy. So again, as I mentioned, it can be a little bit trigger hungry, Mars orientation. There's a lot of quincunxing aspects with Saturn and Pluto. So, being mindful of what's happening in the collective, being mindful that emotionally speaking, it may be supercharged, and really not to add to that fire, but to step back to actually understand, what your feelings are about situations. Because there can be a lot of cross wires during this time, and that can actually amplify and agitate the Mars aspect. By the time we move to 17th, we have the moon in Taurus, and I do feel that's for a few days. So again, it will be you're on mission mode, you're getting things done, you're looking at the balance and maybe getting some ideas as to what would create a happy beginning, what would make for a nurturing, abundant home. And a lot of that can be very spiritual as well. And maybe dealing with financial aspects, dealing with, especially with the Jupiter aspects coming up. So having these hunches and these ideas, as I mentioned, because we do have that at a collective level in the first house, it would be a really great time to be looking at your home and, okay, does this directly fit your needs? Is there something that you're changing around? Is it working where it's tying in with you being at work? For those of you that are working, those of you returning, again, it's our psychology. It's especially in hermit mode and lockdown energy. Those of you that have gone through an awakening process, which I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on that because I've gained a lot of information over the years, but it's just about time at the moment and trying to bring that all together. With the home-based environment, when you've got any fourth house placement, you have this ideal in mind, and we did have the nodes there, as I mentioned, in Cancer. So many of us had this ideal, and we were used to operating from a particular frequency. I have found through this transit that it's not so much that you actually completely leave one nodal energy and you go towards the other, although in layman's terms we do discuss it that way. What I found at a frequency level is you transform both sides. So, the opposite sign, which is the Capricorn, was really forcing us to have a look at where our family, where our roots were coming from, what we were doing with that. And it did totally transform the way in which we directly relate to connections and family. So those themes can be coming up that are being transformed. Whatever that psychology is, I do feel it's a closure point, and I feel moving into the 0 degree of Cancer, there can be themes coming up around that. This can be for blended families. It can be for your belief systems of mother and father, because again, the sun and the moon is mother, father, male, female. Themes to this degree can be coming up. And it's also, paying attention to what your needs are. Definitely, if everyone's feeling quite overwhelmed, it's really having that understanding but compassion towards yourself, that may be taking a little bit of time out, going for a walk. And with any psychology, you do tend to find a large energy is going to be coming up in the collective, really to do with this hermit mode energy. And I know people that have been working in the spiritual community, in the initial stage when we do go into hermit mode energy, it's due to ascension symptoms, and it's due to the vibration and the feeling around us. So a lot of people that have had that actually amplified and forced upon them, it will be this need, in the months following, where we're really going to be looking at the psychological aspect and, was that beneficial to us? Was it negative? It's almost like being put in the naughty corner without really wanting that. And then really having a dark night of the soul energy, where a lot of the old wounds, belief systems, maybe some habits that people have are really grating on you. And ironically enough, having Venus retrograde, is really forcing us in these situations to deal with these adversities. So it's technically forcing our hand to a degree to have a look at these things and say, okay, is this out of balance? Is this my side? Is it somebody else's? Is there something I need to change with this? But it's quite amplified in a sense. Now for Cancer, this is your first house placement. So those of you that have any placement, be it sun or moon, you will find it's hitting technically your first house placement. Also, you know, push-pull, when you look at the axis of Cancer, because the nodes have been in Cancer and Capricorn, and I mentioned this in the previous video, you find that the themes surrounding this were really coming up. Now, many of you were moving towards your 6th house placement, which is also your health, and it's very important to pay attention to your health during the entirety of this month, and I do feel it's going to be a theme. I'll just leave that. I've got my partner calling, truck broke down. Anywho, so with that theme, you'll find that, you know, you in your, let me double check, you in your 1st house placement, I'm finding kind of a theme coming through. Now, your shadow energy is Capricorn. So with that, it falls in your 7th house. Currently, we have Venus retrograde. It's moving direct, but it's still in shadow. So it's technically still slightly malefic, which is more the Scorpionic. It's really, you know, dragging out that old energy, moving cycles out. And I feel that will be coming up for you next month. So it's sort of like this axis for you at the moment, which you're doing your 1st house placement. Then it'll be bouncing over in July into your 7th house placement. I do feel you guys have been tying up a lot of loose ends, and there's been a lot of accountability. There's been a lot of, I would say, damage control and cleaning things up. All of us collectively have been leveling up. With that energy, I do find that your health, your belief systems, the way you see yourself, the way you show yourself to the world, all of that energy is changing. I'm feeling as though with the 2nd house placement, there might have been, happy birthday, July babies, June and July babies, happy birthday. So there may be a thing coming up where your belief system and your direct foundation, your confidence has been building, you know, looking at the 2nd house, especially with Leo, where you've been working on building your life back, where you've been working on, you know, attaining assets. It could even be with the Mercury energy. It may be something to do with vehicles, cars, you know, technology, home-related dynamics, looking at home as well. And I do feel a lot of you are really moving towards this frequency where you're wanting to put some roots down. You're wanting to have a stable home environment. I do feel during this process of June and July, I feel for you guys quite largely that will be coming up where you'll be making some very solid decisions. So I'm going to pull a card for you, and we will then move on to Scorpio. And I'm going to have to power through these, so I don't mean to be rude. It's just been one of those years, guys. Okay. Now, there could be something coming up. This is either on your side, and this is quite interesting. And I'm like, okay, in general, this card can denote fatigue, right? It also can be sort of like player energy, infidelity, things to that degree. But I'm going to articulate what this means. I feel it's more, it can be looking at your past and trying to change it. And again, remember it's 1st house placement. So this is where whatever you're not motivated directly towards, I do feel if people have been pushing you and pulling you in different directions and had an ego, remember it's 1st house placement, which is not only how you see yourself, but it's really how the external world sees you. I do feel you guys in the last 2 years have done a full 360 to really update your image and, you know, of how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, your spirituality. And I'm feeling this to be quite positive, but there can be a trigger coming up around this time. I'm going to pull one more because your energy, obviously, for the last 2 years has been really in it. Also, there could be a person projecting. Okay, now, I'm telling you, this is what's coming through. Whoever you were in the past, it's just not who you were. Now, this on the working axis, you maybe had wanted to be that king and queen in your own right. This might have, due to a very karmic cycle, prevented you. And I do feel, you know, you got the toxic level of things. And now you've been moving very hard to kind of cycle that out. And I do feel you're moving towards the star energy. So whatever this is, whatever energy is coming up around the eclipse, I'm not feeling it to be negative. I do feel it's going to be positive in the long run, but I'm also feeling you're going to make the decision yourself. It's very much going to be you personal based. There may be a trigger or a verbal kind of conversation coming up to allow that to come to the forefront, but ultimately you are making the final decision as to what that's going to be. But I do feel you're being extremely disciplined. First house placement is pretty tough. Do pay attention to your health and your psychology. If you've been kind of mentally processing these things, don't be too hard on yourself. Also, with the overload of information you do currently have for the next year and a half, 2 years, you have the nodes in Gemini being in your 12th house. So again, you're really going to go through a whole transformation stage and you will be a very different person at the end of it. Now, Scorpio, you guys have your 9th house activated. Now, let me double check. No, it is 9th house. Bear with me. Yes, it is 9th house. 9th house placement. Okay, some of you may wish to travel. Again, to balance this out, it's funny. Using your throat chakra is going to be quite important during this eclipse. Now, it links in with religion, education, foreign countries, travel, and purpose. This might have been amplified and it might have been a busy time. It also may be that your belief systems and the people you link in with is quite unique. Also, when we do look at the energy of the eclipse, you know, anything to do with relationships in general is going to come up, but I feel it's more to do with your belief systems, maybe taking a connection to the next level. Cutting off certain people. Yeah, look, you guys are very Pluto energy, so you're deeply intuitive, and I've got that in my Venus placement and my node, so I can directly relate. It's like when you got a hunch, you got a hunch. When you love hard. You're willing to give it all, but you do expect and need a person in a very reciprocal fashion to adhere to that. It's just the way it is. It's a very deep connection. This is sort of what you're moving towards. It's almost like at a spiritual level, you know, you did have a huge transformation in your family domain, your inner childhood wounds you were energetically dealing with. Home related dynamics maybe, and I'm feeling a positive vibe for some reason. I do feel, you know, at a collective level, linking them with the 4th house placement as well as it linking them with your 9th house, I feel whatever you've gone through, and I do feel, yes, okay, 2 years, but maybe even prior to that, because remember, Cancer is childhood. It's nurturing, it's feminine energies. There can be some closure points. There can be belief system differences. Maybe you've done a full 360. I do feel you will know after this eclipse what your life mission is. You'll know where you're going and what you're going to do. And I do feel ultimately, again, it's kind of linking in with Venus, where it's marriages, contracts, partnerships. It could be renewing vows. It might be bringing that back. But again, it can be with communication. Now, Cancer is going to be retrograding in Mercury. Venus currently is in Mercury, technically. So it's a lot of conversation. So if you do find you are with a love interest and you're communicating, you're talking about a lot of the future. It's what you're going to do with that. And usually with eclipses, you do tend to find it's 6 to 12 months. So the steps you move forward, there can be a catalyst to move this. It can be a mindset, a feeling, a gut instinct, very Pluto orientated. But again, I am feeling you guys are just really going to be able to have these conversations, and you're open to having these conversations, be it you're with the person or not. I also do feel you guys are really ushering in a person that is more like-minded, and you maybe energetically have really changed and you're attracting this, like the laws of attraction. Now, for you guys, Scorpio, you have Venus hitting your 8th house. Again, you know, a lot of the structures, you know, it might have been, again, 8th house is quite unique. So it's, you know, unless I was directly looking at your own private chart, with the 8th house at a collective level, we have Venus falling in that. There may be foundations you're looking at, situations where you're trying to move around. So, you know, you have reciprocal energies in your life that are working with you. That's really the connection I'm feeling that's coming through for you guys. It is, you know, being that it's in the 8th house is life, death, money, legacies, but it's also, it's like a non-codependent energy. It's healthy codependency, but it's okay. Now that you've learned karmic lessons, which have been earlier on in your life, you're moving into the realm, you know, anywhere from 6th to the 7th house up is more external to you, but it's like the laws of attraction. You're trying to move towards it. You're changing the way in which you're handling things. You've learned a lot and you're applying it to your life. So it's like the maturity level of the house that it's moving into. Paperwork, again, pay very close attention. I do feel maybe some information coming to you guys. But it's going to benefit you. I do feel it's really, really benefiting you, but you're also ushering this energy into your life that is very mutually based. Pisces, you guys, we have Neptune in your house currently. That's retrograding, moving into the eclipse energy. Now, let me double check what day. Okay, 23rd of June, Neptune will be going retrograde. It's also going, you'll still feel that regardless. I mean, we've got the eclipse on the 21st. You do tend to find a little bit before, easy a week, you can energetically feel it. So in a sense, if your dreams, your hopes, your psyche, spiritually speaking, you guys are going to be meditating upon this. Now, 2021, and you guys might be finding at the moment you're really up in your heads, and that's because we have Saturn and Aquarius in your 12th house. So spiritually speaking, if you're trying to make sense of the world and you're trying to understand different people's views, it does make perfect sense. You will have that placement there in 2021 for quite a while, and you'll have time to do that. And it's really the house of maturity, the house of hidden things coming to the forefront. Can be very psychologically aspected, can also be deeply spiritual as well, that you're meeting with like-minded individuals and having that opportunity to do that. With Cancer falling in your 5th house, again, I'm feeling subject matters connecting to children, conversational pieces, maybe misunderstandings coming to an end, something's coming to the forefront. If you're wanting to have children, again, 2021 is a fantastic time for that because we're going to have Jupiter in Aquarius. So if you're thinking on that and you're finding it quite hard, they can be steps you're taking in a sense of your health. It can be medical checks. Again, it's generally during a Mercury retrograde, it's not the best time, although it's more just follow up on those tests. So if you've had a medical or anything to that degree, making sure during a Mercury retrograde that you're following up on the results, you know, getting back to people, because sometimes information can get lost in transit. Let me look. So 5th house is very, you know, it's anything to do with your romance, birth, children, and luck. What do we have? Okay, I do feel some of you have got 2 ways to do something, but again, it's you know, what are both parties wanting? Be it in your family-related dynamic, people's belief systems, maybe projection energy coming up. I'm feeling push-pull. So whatever this push-pull energy is trying to make everyone happy, again, take that time to nurture yourself. You know, sit with that energy. It might be you seeing both sides of the story in some shape or form. Some of you also may be getting like this brand new opportunity coming towards you in the 5th house placement. This can be a child coming in. It can also be too many things coming at you at once, and really gauging where you are in the matrix of that and if you're ready to do certain things. But with the 5th house, I do feel major changes happening. I also feel 2 direct opportunities coming towards you and making major decisions in a sense of what's going to be healthier and the best for you. Again, I just feel pulled in 2 directions. That's really what I'm getting. Libra, 10th house placement. And feel free after, and I can bounce off. I've only got 2, I've got 3 more. Libra, okay, 10th house placement. 10th house for you guys can be in your career sector, and you know, depending on what you do in your career, it's really a check-in to see, okay, are you on mission? Where are you going? Have you got things, you know, where you want them to be? It can be, again, because of the collective level, home-based businesses, things to that degree. Some of you may be moving towards wanting to have, and I've just looked down and I see the moon card. Some of you, funny enough, Cancer placement. Some of you may be actually wanting to, you know, gain this intuition. Now, it's going to be deeply intuitive based. You may have better hunches this month. You also, with the placement of your career, it's like depending on the realm you work in, be it holistic, because you do tend to find Libras can work in holistic work, they can work in beauty and things to that degree. Beauty procedures during Mercury retrograde aren't the best. Research it, go for gold. Like I said, depending on the industry you work in, be it technology, be it holistic approaches, nursing, things to that degree. Again, just being mindful of that. I do feel after the eclipse, there can be some major changes, some major revelations, and definitely with Venus going direct, you're going to have more of an ability after the eclipse to directly apply it. You usually find in launching and applying, even though we're having Mercury retrograde, and there can be family-related dynamics coming up, it might have really been a balancing act when it comes to family's needs, home needs, and work needs. I feel there's, again, push-pull polarity, and Mars, because Mars is your shadow sign, and the Aries axis is like maybe even having compassion and understanding for other people, but then also having to consider yourself. I do feel intuitively you need to follow your hunches, and it's really nurturing the feminine aspect of your emotions, be it you're a male or a female. It's just tapping into that, tapping into your subconscious mind. You might be guided to actually nurture yourself 2 days in, 2 days out. But at an intuitive level, it can be an overload of work. You usually find there tends to be more than less, depending on if you are working. And if you are, can be, I'm saying you working quite late. I'm just saying, if you're working. It's also at a spiritual level, you can be up, 3 o'clock in the morning and things to that degree. And that can be for all of us collectively, especially with the moon energy coming through. It's like a sleep. It's, the mind going, needing to do healthier things, maybe reducing caffeine and things to that degree to help the mind actually kind of unwind and getting back into those healthy energies. Healthy boundaries I'm also hearing. But overall, I do feel intuitively you guys are going to have a better idea after the eclipse, but I think you're going to be having hunches all the way through the month, moving into the eclipse and then directly applying them and having more clarity externally as to where you're going to go from there. And financially, I feel, especially because the sun is directly connected, it does link in with your 11th house. So I do feel this is major hunches as to how to generate this, and I do feel quite a lot of success, definitely by July. Gemini. Now, you guys also have the nodes in your first house, plus you've had the energy of Cancer in your chart. So you're about to go through, similar to what Cancer and Capricorn have gone through. Rest assured, it is for the bigger picture, and it is to help you on a soul process. Now, as to your assets, it falls in your second house. Now, if you guys have been, upgrading things, again, it's Mercury retrograde as well as the eclipse in Cancer. It still directly links in with very second house placement. If you're wanting to upgrade things, good old Vedic astrology. I do love Vedic. I've got to get into that more. The second house placement can be your professional resources. Again, because the eclipse relates very much collectively at a fourth house level, if you guys are wanting to actually purchase a house, do something solo, build a business, again, you're looking at the bigger picture. And I just keep hearing like fly like a bird. It's something you guys are wanting to do in a sense of creating your own power. And it's so amazing because you literally got the magician. I just feel you guys are coming out of your shell and you want that big, bright new beginning. And it's really challenging that fair base frequency where you're just getting to a point you're saying, look, and I'm not hearing beat them, join them. I'm hearing you're making it. You just, whatever that is, even if you feel you can't do it right now, I don't know what it is you guys are trying to achieve. This can be even attaining a house on your own. It just feels you're really getting to the point that you're putting your foot down and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to make this happen. Now, however you're going to do that, you do have luck on your side. It's not saying it is hard work when you have the nodes in your energy. It's spiritually transforming. It's deep. There's deep growth directly connected to it because I've got the moon in Cancer, which I've been going through that for 2.5 years myself. So, it's not, it's hard work, but it creates a different you, and it definitely creates a very new version of who you are going to be, on the other side of this. First house placement, just be mindful as it moves. You know, you've got the nodes there, so you're easing into that energy. Network at the moment, but some of you may be getting to the point where you've had enough of working for somebody else and you're really deciding to branch out. Now, if that doesn't apply to you, it's more linking in with, okay, moving away, what you're going to need to do to network. And I do feel this can even be building on your career and going up in levels. There can be a delay in it. It doesn't mean to say that you're not going to get your success. So please don't feel that you won't get your success. But I do feel it's linking in with you actually working with people to get where you need to be. But it's also, I do feel ultimately you are going to be deeply independent with achieving some of these targets. And I do feel it's positive because you do have the Magician. So take your power back and do what you need to do. Aquarius, you guys have Saturn there. I'm telling you, in your first house. Let me have a look. I didn't put yours down. I had everything ready. Where are we? Oh, pay attention to your health, okay? Now, emotions and animals. You know, you find with the sixth house placement, it's your health in your family. It's your, you know, healthy belief systems, healthy understandings, emotions. Definitely fourth house placement at a collective level can be our psychology, our belief systems. So, you know, how your family relates to you. Do you have differing views? Does that directly affect your frequency? You guys are for wider group energy. So, you know, Saturn and Aquarius can also be you understand how everyone feels, but you can't make everyone happy. The other energy is understanding it, but really, how do I place it? You can't make the world happy. You know, change does happen. It just doesn't happen overnight. But, you know, it always comes down to us. There might be these strong belief systems coming up, either in a projection sense on either side. So it may be you'll have a lot of travel. So that's fun. So with that, it's like, you know, Saturn is the father figure of the universe. Uranus is the energy of the father figure. It's handed down to Saturn. Usually when you have the Uranian energy going retrograde, is bang, it happens very quickly. Now, Saturn at the moment is in your first house, so you might be feeling quite natural at the moment. But again, let me look. 2021 will be very unique. A lot of you are upskilling, a lot of you are changing. But with your health house, it's important to have, you know, your health in check, your emotions in check. Does it directly relate to family, tribe, home, your physical and psychological foundation? Or is it to do with, and again, it can be over socializing and staying up very late, spiritually speaking, trying to appease people. It's not to say that that's what's happening, but because it's the sixth house, it is very, you know, in the early stages of an Aquarian's energy, you guys are the trendsetters. But initially, you may spiritually feel like you're the black sheep of the family. And it's unique that we have Cancer placed there in your health house. It's also your working environment, but it's your routine. You know, they may be wearing you out, or situations may be wearing you out. The one way to directly handle this eclipse would be really to get maybe a red gem, which is for base chakra. It's getting grounded, it's getting anchored in. It's very similar to Saturn energy. It's that foundation, you know, it's the rock in your life. Sometimes when situations in our family, our tribe, the people, and it doesn't have to be blood family, cancelling some with feminine energies, it can be conflict with people's belief systems, emotions coming up. It's really getting anchored in and grounded. And at the moment, we did have the eclipse in Sagittarius, which can link in with siblings. It can be our partners, family members, and siblings. There was a lot of hermit mode energy. So at a frequency level, you can feel very unhinged, and it's very important to have animal therapy in a sense that you can connect in with the animals and connect and feel grounded. It's also getting enough rest. And, you know, I really do want to do videos on this, because linking in with PTSD and things to that degree, there are healthy ways we can deal with it. So that we can actually, we can't get rid of it, but we can learn to manage things to alleviate some of the symptoms. That can be exercise, it can be communicating with people, it can be reaching out, maybe documenting where trigger points are. so that we can look at those things and go, okay, what is in my control that I can change to a degree? And you do tend to find when you're deeply, deeply exhausted, the health level will go off. And then the trigger point, it's almost like having your overdose of caffeine. It amplifies that energy. So it's about trying to get a hold on that. So if you have found that hard, and subjects of family and belief systems and paradigms have been coming up for 2 years, it is because of the 6th house placement. I do feel some of you might be working very hard, and also your work-related dynamic and where you're wanting it to change and evolve, but really important to just keep grounded. Well, it has been feeling that way, and it is because of Venus being quite malefic in Scorpio. It's also wounds coming up, the Schumann resonance rising. Moon energy in Cancer is very linked to our intuition, our psychology. Neptune going retrograde is also 12th house, which is psychology. So at a level of these emotions, you do tend to find when the collective is going through very fear-based frequency, if you check in with Schumann resonance, it actually spikes. And I have found that usually empaths, people that are used to assessing how other people feel, you tend to go through that vibration first. So once that vibration comes in, you've directly lived it, experienced it, seen it on the 3D, you anchor the energy back in, and then 2 days, 3 days later, you're checking the Schumann resonance spiked. So it's already occurred for you energetically. Why? Because you energetically have the upgrade. You then are there to anchor the energy in. And when somebody is directly experiencing it, very similar to a psychic. Do I need to explain this? Do I need to help support? Or is this an observation point of view that I need to allow this person to experience this to get over the other side? And there's really a very... you kind of grasp when and where. You know when and where to, and that some things you can actually prevent the person from experiencing something, understanding it from their own personal perspective. It's a bit like going to school and getting an education. Some are very visual, some are sensory. So we all uniquely learn in our own way. So, the more you grow, you understand what these things are. And you grasp how people individually have their experiences and how they need to have their experiences. So it's very divinely guided. So I'll pull a card for Aquarius. Overall, I do feel you guys have some success there, but I do feel you guys may be at an emotional level kind of changing that. And you've got 2 cards come up. Yeah, try and wind down, okay? Saturn is really, and Jupiter currently is in Capricorn in retrograde, but again, it's wanting to get a hurry on. It's wanting to get a move. When does that go direct? Let me double check. Okay, retrograde in May 14th, and we still have till September. So it is still fast-paced. It's just fast-paced, and, you're having to go back over old ground, go back over things that, where you thought you were going, where you were moving towards. Now it's like, whoa, okay, you're still moving that way, but it's like pushing a potato cart uphill, and you're trying so hard. And that's why I said, to launch businesses during Jupiter retrograde, plus because it's in Capricorn, it's very deeply accountable energy. So it is literally, like, for instance, starting on YouTube, with that placement, my wholehearted understanding towards YouTube is very hard, because you have that placement in Capricorn at a collective level, which is, and we've had the nodes in Capricorn for about 2 years. It's heavy energy. Now, once it moves into Aquarius, you'll get the yin and yang of that. It'll still be Saturn energy, and in Jupiter, and it will be working with, so it's better boding. It's more successfully boding in a sense of how it will move forward. It's not to say you can't, it's to say, checking the right time for that movement. So, it's more, okay, in order to grow, it may be things to the degree of pre-recording your videos. And this is just an example. I mean, we've got many jobs on the planet. Pre-recording them, getting the foundation correct, very Saturn energy, looking at doing the research, Saturn and Aquarius, what a group, what's the common theme coming up? I mean, if we were all to do the same videos on the same subject matters, it'd just, it's the same. Everyone's looking at one subject and it's another subject. So you need to be able to be unique in your own energy. And because of these heavy energies collectively coming up, very third house placement, which at a collective level, it is the nodes in Gemini. So technology, you know, when you're on technology at the moment, it's going to be common themes. Communication. But large growth in that department, nevertheless. Any questions before I love you and leave you? So ground yourself, Aquarius. Use crystals. You might be looking at your diet and things to that degree. Maybe, you know, looking at nutrition, feeling fatigued. It may be, you know, getting health checkups if you feel divinely guided. That's what you need to do. But, you know, using grounding energies and looking at the emotions and trying not to take things personal, because we're all unique. We're all different. And you guys know that best. So each energy is different. It's not a personal thing. It can be something that people are taking as personal, and it can be either side, really. But with the next 3 days and moving into the eclipse, it can be quite amplified. I do feel around the 17th, 18th and 19th, it might be a little bit easier. But by the time we move into the eclipse in the week after, it's going to be quite slingshot effect moving forward. Any questions before I quickly bring my partner back? My fiancé? Any questions? 441. It's all divinely guided. And my next one, what's my sun and moon? I'm Libra and rising is Cancer. My Venus, I can't remember where my ascension is. My Venus is Scorpio. Can't remember the rest. Because I've been looking at so many different charts. I've got my partners, I've got my daughters, I've got clients' charts in my head. Looking at next month's astrology. Doing twin flame reads. Yeah, but definitely, what's yours, sweet? Pisces, Sun, Scorpio, Moon, Gemini rising. Oh, you've got it all. You'll have an interesting 2.5 years. Where was that article? I need to, here it is. Meaning of 21. Now, the degree points of the eclipse in Cancer is 0 degrees 21. Now, 21 relates to this. 2 conflicts that creative spirit generally prevails. In those situations, the creative spirit is likely to extend a creative compromise to maintain the partnership. Creative self-expression, optimism, inspiration, relationships, diplomacy. It's the number of destiny, providing you have an optimistic attitude. Where is it? There is an energy of it here. The essence also resonates with relationships, similar to the number 2, and some self-determination similar to the number 1. There was another bit. Let me check. Because it's also the eclipse is on the 21st. So it's like 21, 21. It's like, okay, let's look at this. Duality, cooperation, diplomacy. Yeah, I'm sensing it's like when 2 and 1 come together, it could indicate unity and togetherness, or the important relationships, either personal, professional, from which you derive as a sense of meaning and purpose. Keep your thoughts positive and your heart open to the guidance of your angels, and your life will reflect the energy and versatility associated with 2 and 1. Which is 3, which is as above, as below, as within. Like it's Gaia energy, Trinity energy. Yeah, independence. Do you often rely on your friends, family, and wait for them to solve your problems? If so, then this is the reason why you have been seeing 21. Now, again, remember, it does link in with fourth house placement. So like I said, a lot of us at the moment, especially with Venus retrograde, you know, whenever we have Venus retrograde, especially in the soul tribe connection, it's like hopeful, right? You're like, can we just get this moving along? Now, spiritually speaking, it's where we had these ideals of life. Now, fourth house placement at a collective level, you know, you kind of have this ideal of what a beautiful romantic life would be, what a beautiful family would be, white picket fence, kids, job, loving relationships, supportive energy, till death do you part. Now, a lot of these paradigms have changed. You know, we have blended families, we have split families, we have sharing energies. I will delve 2 ticks. So, you know, with that and the 21 energy, a lot of us are healing our very own individual frequency on these things. This whole last 2 years have really transformed these. Moving forward, it's a huge soul healing. So initially you might find that you feel like you're purging. What do you want to know, Dale? And for all of you that have subbed, I thank you. I will be back tomorrow to do a TF update. And for those of you that don't know, Twin Flame update. And then I will be, yeah, but it's the emotions of mother, father energy, family energy, you know, 8th house placement of Pluto retrograde, you know, people we've lost, people we love. Are you ready and willing? As the cycle moves, yes, new is coming. The Cancer eclipse is going to bring new energy into all of us. This is all in our home, our heart, our love. 2021 is great for connections. We'll still receive that beforehand. Most of this energy is cycling out and moving forward. There's huge shifts though, so it has been deeply exhausting. But yes, this is a new cycle. Wheel of Fortune, it's in your destiny. It's written in the stars. Any other questions before I love and leave you and quickly call my partner? I did tell him I was working. Never mind. I appreciate you too. Thank you very much. Okay. For the beautiful, my lovely friend Christy, I love you so much, darling. Okay, your opinion is you're stepping back because you want the cycle to end, right? And I'm sorry if I'm getting my hand in the way. It's because my computer's being rebooted. You feel this person needs to learn a karmic lesson. So it's like you're stepping back, you're going, okay, have you learned? Are you ready? Are you ready? Do you understand? I've sent you a message. You know we laugh so much. I love talking to you. It's like you going, hello, McFly. It's sort of like this. No. That's what, come on, you know that's not true. Just step back, watch and learn. Just go, okay then. Okay, you go do that. I'll see you soon. I don't have a bad feeling. You're too strong for this woman. I'm telling you. You're too strong. Has it been working, Victoria? I'm telling you, I won't preach anything I don't do myself. When I'm feeling that energy, I'm like, oh. Like the weekend's energy, I went back and looked at that video, and I am telling you, thank you for the ones that did bother to comment. I really appreciate it. I had so many clients inbox me so much BS, and it was so funny. And I'm trying to work out a format, and I might do the join button or a Zoom conference call or a Skype call, because I want to be able to talk to you guys away from karmics. Because some karmics will follow you, and I do want to protect your auric energy. So there may be some sessions I'd really like to do privately where we can talk candid. Okay? I love you all. I'm going to go now. If you have any questions after and I've missed anything, feel free to ask. I will respond. I've always got my bloody phone on me. And the best way to contact me would be via the website. It was a repeat, Yildiz, from last year. Yeah, but you know what? It's because this eclipse is coming. And at the moment, people accidentally aren't operating normally. It's because Venus is malefic. So it's our shadow side. It's our fear-based frequency. It's kind of freaky. Try not to take it personal. We're just not normal. And look, ones of us that have been doing work, even maybe criticizing ourselves, that's where the Cancer moon's going to help us. It's like, it's okay, love. We're all right. We're not bad people. We're doing our best. Collectively, we are doing our best. You know, even toxic people are doing their best. It could try. Yeah, so it's just malefic energy. We're not quite operating from a normal paradigm. You know, you got to think back to when you were having an awakening. You're not really yourself yet. It's like you're being rebirthed out of the canal and you're a new person. You're trying to find your bearings and going, oh God, I can't go back. No, you can't. You got to move forward. So you just don't feel safe. You're a bit worried. You're like, is it going to be all right? And it's like, well, it has to be. It's you now. You got to move. You got to do something. Yeah, you're in the Queen of Swords. You're like, look, I'm not playing. I'm not playing. It's not about you. That's what you got to get, right? It's not about you. You've matured now. People are, and it's like friends, right? If you're having a friend deal with you and they used to know you in a particular way and you suddenly have changed, yes, they're going to be confused. So why wouldn't a partner or a love interest be? And then they're like, oh, okay, I won't mess with her that way, or I won't talk to her that way. Or, okay, she used to like chocolate ice cream. Now she likes rum and raisin. Anyone who showed rum and raisin, be coming at me. I mean, I love rum and raisin, right? Because it's got alcohol in it. And during these ascension, like, we're supposed to be detoxing. And I'm attempting to do that. I'm trying to not drink so much coffee because even the coffee's getting me dehydrated. I'm telling you. And I keep doing this, you know, when I'm talking to Giggle or Mark, I'm like putting crystals on my third eye. It's like, and I have my base chakra crystal on my neck. Because of the foundation, very family orientated, you know, base chakra foundation. Yeah. Yeah, look, I even thought about wheatgrass. I'm like, I'm growing vegetables in my garden. And I was like, why didn't I grow that wheatgrass? Get that good old detox, especially with the heart chakra activation we're going to be having with Venus retrograde, throat chakra be coming up. You want to bite somebody's head off. You don't really want to be mean. Do make sure you get it out and charge it at the eclipse. And then, you know, whatever you do, if you do have a crystal and you want to use it to support you during the eclipse, smudge, stick it, wash it with salt, dry it, and then put it under your pillow. And then during the eclipse, other crystals can be put out and just alternate them. Yeah. But you'll find, try not to overuse certain crystals because some of them can make things worse, not better. Sometimes if a crystal breaks, it's served a purpose. You've upgraded that energy. You do tend to find as you transition through, some things you just won't need anymore. You'll know when to, when not to, when it's needed, and because the more you upgrade, funny enough, the less you need. Yeah. I've been having waves of both. Gratitude, understanding. There's been anger. There's been frustration. Back down to reality again. Have you worked on your energy? Maybe you need to look at this. PTSD energy. Healthy boundary energy. So it's been a lot. You know, especially since I work as an energy healer. So, you know, I can pinpoint people's triggers looking at that energy. Then directly, I will always check myself. So if something comes up in a client, I'll always go back and look at that and see how it directly relates, see where I'm traveling. And always when you've purged something, you'll get tired. You'll purge it. You'll feel lighter and a 3D situation will come up. So you'll be going, heck, I just dealt with that. Why is it up here in the 3D? Because it's just to double check that you've really got over it. And I'll be bang, okay, shifted. So it can be a positive thing too. And you're like, yeah, great. But it always will come up in a 3D notion after. So, you know, try and gauge that. So if you're having a trigger and you're moving through it and you're like, oh, you've released it, you'll find a 3D situation will come up and you go. but then it'll calm down again and you'll move forward. Anyway, love and light. Thank you for your donations. Those of you that do donate on the channel, I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow, which for America, that will be, well, you guys are moving into AM, so it'll be PM, 10 a.m. Perth WA time, potentially, but I do have a client tomorrow. I'll put information in the community tab. Love you too, Dal. And I will be back. Any questions that you have, you can put them on this video or any of the videos and I'll read them. And any content you want me to do, I'll get on it. But I will be recording, starting to get the recordings done for July, and I'll try and get them out as soon as possible, even if I do them via Element and upload them. I'm thinking of you all, wherever you are in the world. I'm thinking of you all. Just keep very close, you know, look after yourselves. Be good to yourselves, whoever you are. Love and light, guys. I'll see you later.